Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
I really like this saying for this morning. Prayer is not a spare wheel that you pull out when in trouble, but it's a steering wheel that directs the right path throughout the journey. I like that. Good morning on a Thursday. I'm Zeb Bell. Here we go. Kate Smith and God Bless America, followed by a pledger. Have a great Thursday. Oh, there she is, that lovely Kate Smith, and God bless America. And thank you very much. I'm Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch with our major sponsor. I'm going to sneeze in a minute. I know I am. I'm sorry. Our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with our friends at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley, and Ramsey Heating and Electric. Yes, sirree, I'm going to sneeze. 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. There. Hi, good morning, Gina. I'm sorry.
Did you get through it?
You know, it's crazy, and I know this has happened to you probably doing the news on television and everything.
Yep. Uh-huh.
And when we used to have Cowboy Country television show, Johnny and I, we were in the middle of a segment that we didn't want to take over and film over and do over, and all of a sudden I had to sneeze, and it keeps coming back. You know, wait a minute, it subsides, and then here it comes.
And it's just like, honestly, would you just get it done and over with so I can move on?
I know, and right now I feel pretty good, but look out.
Look at the light. Look at a bright light, and that usually helps you sneeze. Either that or sniff some black pepper.
Whoa! For how many hours am I going to sneeze?
No, you just take your black pepper container and you just lightly put it under your nose, and that usually helps you sneeze.
Holy!
Seriously, it works.
All right, I'll try it. Do we have a pledger?
It's going to be either you, me, or Michael.
Let's let Michael do it this morning, and then I'll have a break and introduce the weather. Michael, go ahead, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, and our weather this hour is brought to everybody by Cheney Flooring and Home Design. Really nice people at 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for their blue door. Kyle and Whitney Cheney. Whitney's going to be on the program with us later on this morning. Number to call, 678-6945. And this is a place where your home design needs are aisles apart, not miles apart. They can meet or beat any price on flooring. Free in-house consultation. They want to serve you. Really nice people at Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Michael, what's the weather?
Sunny and hot. That's about it. We have a slight chance of a thunderstorm for today and also for tomorrow. Then it gets really hot, like 97, 98 for the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. It's going to be a scorcher. Got a big announcement to share with you coming up on Monday. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I waited 9 years for this, and today is a good day to be Michael Rogers. The bad thing about it, it really doesn't have anything to do with Idaho. It has something personal to do with me. It's life-changing. But Monday morning I will share that with you because I'm a pretty happy camper right about now. Other than that, have a great weekend. Enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.
Well, now you piqued my interest. We will talk to you Monday. MichaelRogersWeather.com. Thank you very much. Brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. Merv May, come on in here and sell some cattle.
All right, it gets the steer calves here to get $31, $1.31, $1.31, $32, $2.5.
That's Merv May, world's best auctioneer, along with Lance Udy at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. Sale time 10:30 this morning. For more information, call them at 678-9411. They got a good run, big run of butcher cows today, and they're coming in from Oak Ridge Dairy, 30 head of butcher cows. P-Bar S Dairy, 20 head of butcher cows. Antelope Hills, 16 head. Ward Dairy, 41 head of butcher cows. And more butcher cows coming from Moo Mountain, East Ridge, and South Ridge Dairies. Oh, yeah, today, Butcher Cow Day at Burley Livestock Sale Yard, along with a good trailer line run. Sale time, 10:30. Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley, 678-9411. Merv, sell those steers.
All right, it gets the steer calves here to get $31, $1.31, $1.32, $2.5, $3.5, $1.34, $4.5, $5.5, $1.30, $5.50, $1.35, $7.35. Zeb Bell, get the bottom again.
I'll tell you what, I'll take that bottom of 135, I'll guarantee you. Hey, let's tell a little bit about Valley White Home and Ranch. They really want to stress that, we look at the calendar, and to me, I think it should still be like April. Here it is almost mid-July. And fair time is around the corner, and the kids in 4-H are making their last-minute push to get everything ready, and all their 4-H supplies, all their feed, all their clothing, everything, all their health supplies, right there at Valley White Home and Ranch. Please use that as your headquarters, and the 4-Hers get 10% off. Valley White Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Steve, Mandy, the whole crew serving you, and they got fishing supplies there too at Valley White Home and Ranch. Don't you miss it. Really good people over there. All right. I don't even know where to start. I'm so frustrated this morning. I want to give you an update as to a story and an interview I had yesterday on the program about the EPA. And I want to do a follow-up on that right now to show you and tell you how concerning it is and should be for all of us. This morning, early this morning, I heard there was going to be a segment on Fox News at about 4:30, and I was up, of course, and followed this information. The EPA is, as we stated yesterday with our guest, they are trying this coming fall in September to garnish your wages or get into your bank accounts for fines that they deem necessary, the EPA, against their rules or permits that they say have been broken. In other words, what they want to do and will do is, if this goes through in September, is they will basically be able to take money from your employer or out of your bank account without you ever having an opportunity to go to court over these issues. They want to fine you without a court order, and that is not constitutional. That is not legal. And I was listening to a judge talk about this morning, and he was absolutely livid, throwing his hands in the air and saying, you can't do this. And so anyway, I really want you folks to call Simpson, call Labrador, call Crapo, call Rish, and don't ask them to be observant about this. Tell them to be observant about this, and that you will not stand for a violation of the Constitution and your constitutional rights. The EPA said, and I've been telling you this for a long time, and I said it in a jestful manner. I know I did because I've listened to some of the back tapes of this program. But the problem is, what I said in a jestful manner is coming true. The EPA literally wants to regulate and watch you and fine you for little bitty ponds that you dig in your backyard. Remember I said on one program, I think back in May, I said, why don't we all dig a little pond in the backyard and float a little boat in it, I said, after I had Andy Johnson from Fort Bridger, Wyoming on my program? Well, it's not so funny anymore because that's what the EPA wants to do. They want to come in and they want to regulate and fine you if you do dig a little backyard pond. These are thugs, these are punks, and these are all Obama appointees that literally want control over you, thumbs down, and be able to get into your bank account or garnish your wages with your employer. You should be outraged. I am. And I've already called the aforementioned individuals. You should too. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I am so fed up with this outrageous behavior of this government, absolutely stepping on us illegally. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, 678-0459. Deanna talked to Keith the other day, and Keith said, holy cow, are we busy. People are just swarming in here to get new air filters for their air conditioner. Clean, new, good air filter for your air conditioner means you stay more comfortable and cooler. That's right. If you want to have trouble, leave that dirty one in there, and you're not going to stay cool. It might not be good for the air conditioner either. So, check it out, all of them out, at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Call ahead, they'll have your order waiting for you, 678-0459, where they provide warm winters and cool summers. Ramsey Heating and Electric. By the by, real quick, and then I want some phone calls. Are you not concerned about this thuggery? This absolute mafia, we're going to stomp on you and you're going to do it our way attitude of the EPA? They've got to be thwarted. And I'm still advocating, go dig a little pond in your backyard. I'm not talking like the size of Murtaugh Lake, but I'm talking a little bitty pond. And just see, I'm going to push the envelope, and I am going to. We already have a little fish pond. Well, I'm thinking about pushing the envelope and digging another one out there, and just see if somebody's going to show up and say, well, Mr. Bell, we're going to find... No, don't. Get off my property. This is private property, and you've got 30 seconds. Leave. Don't forget your friends and our friends at Berry Equipment and Rental. They have 3 locations on Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, South Lincoln and Jerome, and their new, beautiful location at 159 West Highway 30 in Burley with Nick and the rest of the crew. I tell you what, they've been in business over 30 years in the Magic Valley, and they're doing a lot of work to serve you. They've got a rental business and a sale business. I'll tell you, they've got all the skid steers, man lifts. They've got all the construction equipment. They've got everything, all the Bobcat equipment. You better stop in and see them today. And a great shop serving you too at Berry Equipment and Rental in Twin Falls, Jerome, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Berry Equipment and Rental. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, Jeb. I've been watching this and listening to them, and you know something? Mr. Simpson, you can sit here and tell us people out here in Idaho that you're trying to defund the EPA. That's a bunch of horse crap, and you know it. Do your job and get it done.
Al,
how can they take and put an organization that's not even supposed to be in the Constitution?
Yeah. Where did they get their power? How did they get their power? Now they want to jump into Mr. Butler's bank account and Mr. Bell's bank account or garnish our wages if they perceive rules have been broken without even going to court. Al, you talk about Hitleristic, you tell me I'm wrong.
No, I mean, it's getting ridiculous, and Simpson and the rest of them have got to get off this damn bandwagon that, we're going to defund them. I haven't seen you pull one dime, Mr. Simpson. Fact is, you've upped it a couple of $1 billion.
Well, you know, this is a real critical situation because it's not only telling you that they're going to garnish your wages, it's also telling you that you have no rights as a private property owner.
Like hell I don't.
That's right. And that's the attitude to keep. That is the attitude to keep. What's that, Al?
Say my partners are Smith & Wesson.
Yeah, and enjoy their relationship. Thank you. All right, thank you, Al.
Hey, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
I think we've lost a lunch buncher. Don Blaney?
Yes, we did, and I was going to comment on that a little bit later on in the hour, but now is as good a time as any. I want to extend our deepest sympathies to the Blaney family, Mr. and Mrs. Don Blaney. Absolutely nice people, and they supported our lunch bunch. You know that, Al, for a long, long time. And my prayers and our thoughts and our worries go out to Mrs. Blaney, and we certainly wish her the very best.
Yeah, I'm going to kind of miss the gentleman's friendly phone calls almost every month. So.
Well, and I agree with you. I really want to say thank you to you for mentioning that. I was going to do it at the top of the hour, but as I said, now is as good as any. Thank you, Al. Appreciate it.
You bet. Have a good one.
All right. Yeah, Don Blaney passing away, and they were so supportive of Lunch Bunch and so nice to be around. I appreciate them, and I wish the very best to Mrs. Blaney. Denny's Restaurant, don't forget 611 Overland in Burley, and Thomas and his entire staff are phenomenal. How else can you say it? I mean, that's the truth. They're phenomenal. They've got a menu that'll knock your socks off, and oh my, service extraordinaire. They really do take care of you. And our next lunch bunch is going to be on the 24th of July, so don't miss that on July 24th. We may have to change that until the 31st now that I look at that. Deanne, I made a mistake on the dating on that next lunch bunch, so we'll let everybody know Monday as to the exact date. So, don't forget that. Denny's Restaurant, stop in all the time, anytime, breakfast, lunch, and dinner at 611 Overland in Burley. Denny's Restaurant, serving you. It is so good. All right, give us a call. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. This deal on the border, I know some of you possibly are sick and tired of the news from the border, but it's got to be related to you and everyone else so we stay on top of it. Obama will not go to the border. He won't go. You know, how do I say this? As I've mentioned 1,000 times on this program, I do not like this man. I do not have any respect for this man. And I certainly do not have any respect for his ideology. And yesterday he made a comment that has been picked up by every single news organization, where he said, I will not, I'm paraphrasing, I'm not using a direct quote. He said, I will not use the border situation as a photo op. What a fraud and a phony. What did he do when he walked on the beach in New Jersey with Chris Christie after Hurricane Katrina? A photo op. And as recently as a night before last, I mean, here we have the Middle East that is a tinderbox with Israel and the Gaza Strip and Hamas, and that could turn into, and this is no exaggeration, Armageddon. And we have Syria, we have Iraq, we have the ISIS, we have Afghanistan. We've got major problems all over the Middle East and a border problem that is absolutely critical. And the President of the United States goes to Denver for a fundraiser and goes to a bar and plays pool and uses that as a photo op. Don't you dare, anyone out there that's a liberal Democrat, chew on me again as you have recently for criticizing Obama. I will continue, more so than ever, to criticize Obama. What a pathetic excuse for paying attention to what's going on and trying to direct presidential help and assistance to these problems. He goes to a bar after a fundraiser and shoots pool, and the cameras are there. But he will not go to the border and realize the chaos, the misery, the absolute, what do you want to call it, with our friends and neighbors that live in these border towns that are financially just being stressed to the limit. And he won't go to the border. He's less than 500 miles away from the border while he's in Texas for those fundraisers. He meets with Governor Rick Perry on the helicopter and then behind a closed-door session for about 15 minutes and then flies away. That's not going to solve anything. And now he wants $4 billion. And by the way, some of the people that helped me and worked for me on the East Coast, back in Washington and New York, they've been compiling figures and numbers on that $4 billion. And most of the estimates, and this just blew me away, most of the estimates out of that $4 billion with a B billion, that possibly only $100 million plus would actually physically go to help border security. Think about that. This president wants almost $4 billion, and he wants it basically to go to Homeland Security and other organizations and also build more detainment centers, and only about $100 million of that money will actually physically help security on the border. Don't fund them. Don't give them the money, Congress. Do not give them the money. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Silver State Stampede starts tonight with the kickoff party starting tonight in Elko, Nevada at the Elko County Fairgrounds. And by golly, I'll tell you what, it's going to be a lot of fun. Kickoff party, tri-tip dinner, Old West bronc riding, Western Trade Show. Tomorrow night, Saturday night, PRCA rodeo action, nation's best cowboys coming in. Oh my! It's going to be great. Right there in Elko, Nevada, Nevada's oldest rodeo, the Silver State Stampede. Don't miss it. Wow, come on down to Elko. Oh, and by the way, Snyder's Surplus. I'm going to have to, next week when I'm back, I got to run over and see my friends over at Snyder's Surplus. We were over there, and they blessed us by being a part of a grand opening. We had our remote over there, and it is a beautiful brand new store. Brand new store at 112 South, 200 West of Rupert, and brand new merchandise, always friendly service, and you just got to get in there and look around, shop around, and just be around these people. They really care. They are open 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, 9 to 1 on Saturdays. Don't forget, Snyder's Surplus serving you. Leland and Tammy, the whole crew, very nice people. Time for the Capital Press Ag Minute. We'll be right back after this, and I'd love to have some of your phone calls. Give us a call.
Today's Ag Minute brought to you by the Capital Press, the West Ag Weekly.
Though a recent USDA report shows Idaho farmers planted nearly 8% fewer acres of barley this season, the chairman of the Idaho Barley Commission is confident the Gem State will remain number one in total barley production. Idaho became the top barley producing state in 2011, but North Dakota reclaimed that distinction the following year. Idaho once again finished on the top of the barley production for states in 2013, with a crop estimated at 55.8 million bushels. This season, Idaho farmers planted 580,000 barley acres, according to a June 30th report by the USDA. National Agricultural Statistics Service estimates North Dakota growers planted 650,000 acres this season, down from 760,000 acres.
For more agriculture news and information, turn to the West Ag Weekly, the Capital Press, and CapitalPress.com.
All right. Thank you very much, Capital Press, and all the good folks up there. We appreciate them. And don't forget, too, sugar beet growers, may I have your attention, introducing Preaxor from BASF, the newest form of chemistry for sugar beets to fight disease and potentially increase yield and sugar content for your sugar beets. Preaxor contains headline and a new compound, xenium, that also provides excellent control of powdery mildew. As I said with the application of BASF's Preaxor, 45 to 60 days prior to harvest, you have the potential of higher yields and more sugar content in your sugar beets. Contact your local Ag Chem supplier today or call my buddy BASF Ron Ellis, 431-6776, or Tim Perry at 844-0682. BASF's Preaxor for your better sugar beets. All right, let's get on the phone and give me a call. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. One question I've got in regard to this border mess. And I don't understand this, and I've talked to some people down there, and they're questioning, why is there such a secret shroud over what's going on in these detainment centers? Why are the workers told that they better not shoot any pictures while they are working in the facility? Why are they told no videos? Why are they told that they can't talk about anything? Why are they given a gag order about this whole scenario? Why? Why all the secrecy? And why all the kind of Gestapo attitude about this? And it appears, and this is kind of scary, one of the people that I talked to back in New York City has said some of the children from these detainment centers have turned up missing. Yeah, they're gone. Now, whether they're the older teenagers or whether they're younger children, some are missing. And they've gone through their lists and they can't find them. And they're very, very concerned that they've just disappeared somehow, and nobody seems to know. People are questioning, where did little so-and-so go? Where's this person, etc.? We don't know. They're gone. This whole thing is a mess. This whole thing is a mess. And the likes of Sheila Jackson Lee, black woman from Texas, standing up there yesterday and blaming this entire mess on partisan politics and blaming the Republican Party. Please, there's another reason for term limits, to get rid of people like her. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, yesterday after he met with Perry, Obama had a short press conference, and he says, however he put it, he said these children are not going to be able to stay. And you know as well as I do that they're intentionally here and encouraged by this administration. And of course, what's new? This guy lies every day. And it just seems like we as the American people tolerate lies from him like it's nothing new. But you see, a lie is a lie, and it'll always be a terrible, evil thing. And he says that they're going to have to go home, and he just says it. But ultimately, seriously, where will they end up? Will they be spread out through our country? And so many of these so-called children, some of them are MS-13 gang members, they're teenagers. Some of them we don't even know for sure if they might be violent. They're just here. It's amazing.
All right, well, now wait a minute. Let's break this down just a little bit, and I want other people to comment on this. Here we have busload after busload after busload and plane loads of these children, etc. Now, some of these children, 4 and 5 years of age, Randy, you've been around kids a lot, how are they, A, going to give adequate information as to who they are and where they came from, and B, where they are going or where their relatives are? A lot of them had no paperwork in their pockets. A lot of them, this is a disaster. And don't give me this excuse like I heard a Democrat yesterday saying, their parents were so concerned of their welfare. They were so concerned of the drug lords. They threw them on a bus and gave the coyote $700 just to get him out of a war zone. Bunk. I'm not buying that at all. Are you?
No, it's all... Where do they get the $700 to give the coyote to ship their children up someplace? If they truly loved their children, they would have never let their children go. I guess they would do what you and I are trying to do, save the country that we were born in from being destroyed. I guess if their countries are so destroyed now because of lack of people's involvement, that's not my fault.
Okay, stop. There again, another good point. Number one, if they are overrun with drug lords and drug activity and crime, that is not the fault of me as a taxpayer of the United States of America. It's the fault of the governing agencies in their countries. And they've got to assume and take on the responsibility that they're doing a lousy job, not pass the buck, literally, to the United States of America.
Of course. And so, but like I said, nothing ever makes sense with this administration. One more thing, and then I'll hang up. I heard that there was religious pastors, religious churches that wanted to go in and assist, and they are not being allowed to. And like you said, this hush-hush thing, it is probably for fear that these children are going to accidentally say, how they got here, and explain it. And the truth will be out. I mean, we already know the truth, I guess, but, again, when the media is so beholden to this criminal, I don't know, man. I don't know. You just, you say to yourself, do these people in the media not have relatives, family members, friends that live in this country that will suffer from the same things that you and I will suffer from this onslaught of this illegal immigration or
I agree.
Entering our country.
I agree, Randy. Thank you so much for your call. Appreciate it. Yeah, this is just a mess, the secrecy and the cloak of a clandestine activity. And you keep your mouth shut. No pictures. And now some of the kids are missing. They don't know where they went. They don't know where they went. Good heavens. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Clark's for Shopping, 100 East Main Street in Oakley says, come on up to Oakley Pioneer Days next week and shop at our hometown grocery store, Clark's for Shopping. Famous breakfast sausage from Grandma's recipe. It is so good. Bulk patties are links. And just a fun store to be at with really nice people. Clark's for Shopping, 100 East Main in Oakley. And Speaker of the House, Representative Scott Bedke, a rancher in Oakley, invites all of you to the best celebration in Idaho, the Oakley Pioneer Days, July 15th through the 19th. Please celebrate 127 years of family Western traditions. Thank you, Speaker of the House, Scott Bedke. And Searles at 106 North Center Street in Oakley, gas, grub, and goodies. Oh, nice store. Open 6 in the morning to 9 p.m. at night, 6 to 9. Locally grown beef, best burgers and fries, and they make specialty buns, baked fresh every day. You're going to love it. Searles in Oakley. Thank you very much, and we'll talk more about those good folks next week. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Come on, give us a jingle, and we'd like to talk to you about anything and everything. By the way, we were just talking about Oakley Pioneer Days, and I want to stress the fact that, holy cow, they've got so much activity planned up there this next week. You don't want to miss a minute of it, and put it on your calendar of, yes, we must get up there with must things to do at the Oakley Pioneer Days. I mean, next Tuesday and Wednesday, they're going to have that four-cylinder bump and rub car race. They're going to go to 2 days of that bump and rub for the Oakley Pioneer Days. And then, of course, they've got Jim Kenna on Thursday night, and they've got the rodeo on Friday and Saturday night, Goose Creek Runoff. I mean, they've got Goose Creek Run, I should say. They've got so much fun going on up there, along with the breakfast in the park, chuck wagon breakfast. It's all going to be a lot of fun for you next week in Oakley. Absolutely. Oakley Pioneer Days, and they're waiting to have you come up and enjoy it with them. Okay, calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You know who Jesse Ventura is, I'm sure. Well, Jesse Ventura should be ashamed of himself to the point where he can't even stand to look at himself in a mirror. And I'll tell you why in just a minute. We'll take this caller. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
I think that you have little grandchildren and I have little grandchildren, and we cherish those kids so much. How many of us would put our children, even up to like 12 years old, on a bus send them out of the country, not knowing how you would find them after you got there. If you're that poor, are you ever going to see your child again? It sounds to me like they're emptying out places where kids go when there is no parents.
You know something?
Are we becoming the beneficiaries of a new nation?
You know, Chris, the other day I had a call from a gentleman that asked to remain anonymous, but he's a very well-known business person in this area. And he came up with the same theory. He says, I honestly believe that in this case of Costa Rica and El Salvador and all these countries, they literally are emptying out the orphanages to eliminate a problem to them and bringing them up here, and they possibly don't have any family.
And is there anything on these kids at all to identify them?
I don't know. And see, this is where the hush and the secrecy comes in. There are quite a few people that are working, as I said, helping me on the East Coast, and the gag orders and the lack of knowledge as to what's going on and what kind of information is being filed, finding out who they are, finding out if they have anybody living here in the United States to where they could send these children and take care of them. You know, Chris, on a one-child basis, let me ask you this. When you figure on a one-child basis, the food, the clothing, the medicine, the care, and then sending them to possibly an aunt and uncle or a grandmother and grandfather someplace, let's say it's right here in the Burley, Idaho area. Another cost factor, minimally maybe $5,000 to $1,000 just for transportation. The American taxpayer is being knocked over the head with money that we don't have.
Well, and what kind of a deal did Obama make with Mexico? Because Mexico has never been friendly to people coming into their borders, and here they are, they're letting them through and just welcoming, sending them right on our borders. I think that Mexico needs to stop them at their southern border, too.
Well, there's no question. I think the southern border along those other countries is like 100 and, I could be corrected on this, I think it's about 155 miles. And they're not doing anything to close down the influx of people coming across their borders into Mexico to eventually end up on our border here in the United States. But here's the deal. While we're taking their influx of people, and this president and John Kerry are buddy-buddy with the president of Mexico, they go and they sit down with him and they have coffee, they have their little cookies or whatever, and they smile for photo ops. Our United States Marine Tamarisi was in the Mexican court system yesterday, and they put him back in prison, and he won't get another hearing until August 4th. If Obama and Kerry had any kind of decency about him, they would tell the Mexican president, wait a minute, you're doing this to us and you're keeping one of our Marines, let him out now.
You know what? We have a paper tiger, and if I were a Democrat, I'd be so sick, I'd be calling to impeach him too, because he is no friend to any of us.
Did you happen to catch the comments by Sheila Jackson Lee from Texas, the black congresswoman?
Well, I heard him, but I can't even remember him because I think it was so ridiculous.
Well, she just absolutely used her little 5 minutes of photo opportunity for fame, for her politics and her partisanship to stand up there and say, well, this is all the Republicans' fault. No, it's not. We have no leadership in the Oval Office. We don't have anybody that has a backbone in the spine, and they won't do anything. Honestly, I don't see the problem with this Marine whatsoever. I mean, Mexico has abused their treaties with us. Mexico has abused our borders. Mexico has abused our relationship. And right now, if I were Obama and I wanted to act presidential, I'd call the president of Mexico on the phone and say, according to Washington time right now, it's about 11:15, and I expect in 15 minutes that Marine will be on the border headed home.
Yeah, because I suspect we send a little bit of money to Mexico, and I know that we do, on the people who come here to work in our fields and on our farms. Believe me, half of their paychecks go somewhere else.
Yeah, and there's something else, too. And I'm on a tangent here with releasing people. We are not hearing anything, and if you have, you correct me. But we're not hearing anything about Pastor Abedini over in Iran. We're not hearing anything about that story whatsoever. It's been swept under the rug. There are no notices as to what's going on with the Iranian government and John Kerry over there talking to those people or on the phone, etc. I think it's such a sick, pathetic way of handling relationships with other countries, leaving our people rot in jail.
Well, I really do believe that the style of presidency that came to rest in the United States with the Obama bunch is one disaster after another. Keep the American people so preoccupied with the last disaster, and then all of a sudden there's a new one on the horizon. And Americans better get their history books out and find out what this is called.
Well,
Cloward and Pivot.
Absolutely.
Americans have got to go in the streets and tell this president that he's about to be lynched.
Yeah.
Not just, taken off of the podium. I think, this is getting to be scary times.
It is scary times, but I'll tell you something. I'm not advocating any violence or anything. All I want is someone in the Oval Office. I want an administration that's going to adhere to the policies of our Constitution and our laws that are in effect and not use a pen and a phone to circumvent what we, the American people, should stand for.
Well, I certainly hope the Republicans start getting some backbone, because I'm not much more proud of them.
Absolutely. I can't argue that. Chris, thank you very much. God bless. Thank you.
Bye.
We got to get the weather in here real quick. Burley Glass, 1029 Overland Avenue in Burley. Oh, my. They've got energy-efficient windows that can help increase your energy efficiency of your home by 2 to 3 times. Gentle Ben, Leslie, the whole crew at Burley Glass, 1029 Overland Avenue in Burley, 678-1459. Working hard to provide the great service to all the communities in Magic Valley, and that's Burley Glass. Here now, Michael Rogers weather.
Hey everybody, Michael Rogers for Zeb at the Ranch. Slight chance of a thunderstorm for today and tomorrow. Temperatures, you're going to be on the cool side. How about 93 for the high? 94 for the high tomorrow. When you get to the weekend, look for temperatures in the upper 90s, like 97, 98. There'll be a lot of sun and very little clouds. There you have it. See you Monday. Enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.
All right, MichaelRogersWeather.com. Brought to you this hour by Burley Glass, 1029 Overland Avenue in Burley, 678-1459. Gina, did I hear the cow or not? I was busy saying something, and I just kind of caught something in my headset. If it's not, that's fine. I just didn't know for sure.
No cow.
Okay, thank you. No cow, no herd, all hat, no cattle. Here we go. Talking about Jesse Ventura. Now, I don't know if you followed this story or not. Let's see if Gina knows who he is. You know who Jesse Ventura is, do you not, Gina?
Yes.
Okay.
Mayor or governor, and then former wrestler.
No, he is a former Minnesota State governor.
Okay.
And a former Cheap Thrills professional wrestler, and a thug and a punk as far as I'm concerned. Did you know that he is suing, I don't know if you followed this story or not, but he is suing the widow of Navy SEAL hero Chris Kyle.
Why?
Well, it seems like before Chris Kyle was shot, he had run into Jesse Ventura along, Chris was with some of his other Navy SEALs. And Ventura has been a far-out politico. He's made some statements that have been definitely against America. Yeah. He's made statements that were definitely against the Navy SEALs and some of their special service people. And it seems like they were at a bar. And Chris Kyle alluded to this story on O'Reilly and a couple of other news shows before his passing. And it seems like Ventura had too much to drink, and I'm paraphrasing this whole story, so bear with me. And he said something to Chris Kyle about, maybe it might be good for some of the Navy SEALs to lose some of their people. And seriously. And Chris Kyle popped him, let him have it right between the eyes, and dusted him right there on that bar floor and got up and left with the rest of the Navy SEALs. So here's what's happening. And callers, stay with me. I'll be right with you. Here's what's happening. Chris Kyle is shot, shooting by a deranged young man that was on a rifle course, and it killed former Navy SEAL Chris Kyle. Sad enough that his wife is going through all this. Well, now Jesse Ventura says, this is time that I can have my record cleaned, and he says Chris Kyle never hit me. That's a lie, and I'm going to sue the widow for defamation of character.
Oh, Jesse Ventura just needs to go. He needs to go.
You look this up, and the story in its entirety will make you sick.
I'm going to look that up, and you've got 2 phone calls.
All right, caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. I agree with your last caller with the Cloward Pivens agenda, and there's a movement that is being overshadowed in our country by this deal in Mexico with the Mexican border, the VA scandal, the list goes on. And we have something that's happening, probably millions of times every day. For example, I have a good friend from Jerome who's a wounded warrior. He has a son that's going to school on the VA. He's 24 years old. He has 3 children. One of them is out of wedlock. The child lives with the mother, who's on the government dole, doesn't work, lives in income-subsidized housing, food stamps, the whole 9 yards. And this young man's married now, got 2 children with the second wife, and he graduated from CSI in mid-May, and they were living with my friend and his wife and teenage daughter to save money. And they recently moved down to Utah so they can get residency. And he had, in order to qualify for low-income housing, he had to sign a paper stating that he wouldn't work for the next year.
Oh, my goodness.
To get into low-income housing. And I'm going, this is nuts.
Our whole society is turned upside down with the values that made this great country and all the energy and effort to make yourself a better person and propel yourself in life. This is completely crazy. Hey, listen, by the way, give me a call tomorrow sometime if you would. I need to visit with you. I've got one of your friends coming on the air next Monday. Sergeant Scott Coulter is going to be on the program.
Okay, thanks, Zeb.
Thank you very much. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. Going back to that Marine that's in Mexico, we have taken millions of Mexico's welfare recipients here at the cost of billions and billions of dollars for the American taxpayers. And you mean to tell me they can't do us a little service and release this guy?
Tony, I've lost my patience even wanting to and calling these senators, calling our congressmen, calling the White House phone number and leaving scathing attacks on Obama with his ineptitude. I'm frustrated. I don't know why in the world this Marine, Tamarisi, is sitting in a Mexican prison. I don't understand why we have all the illegalities being thrust upon us from Mexico, and yet we can't get our Marine released because of a simple mistake. There's something completely hideously wrong with this administration.
Oh, absolutely. And we've got all our hardcore criminals in our prisons that we're supporting. And they're being treated with all kinds of goodies there in those prisons with recreation, TV, good food and everything. And they're treating our guy like this.
Yep.
Mexico has become truly one of our worst enemies.
In many respects, I agree with you. Tony, as always, I appreciate your call. God bless you, man. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
All right, very nice man right there. I appreciate him and Mary so much. I want to see if Gina did some follow-up on that with Jesse Ventura, and then she'll understand why I'm so outraged about this in just a minute. Don't forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, 7 locations. 7. serving you. That's right. And the best in tires, you know that. They've got all the tires you could possibly want for your vehicles. The best in front end alignments for better handling and better tire mileage, etc. Right there at all 7. Best in brake service, and of course, shocks and struts, batteries. It's all there. All there along with the best in service. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, John on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Gina, did you have a chance to pull that up on the web?
I'm just now pulling it up and trying to read it.
You know, it's one of the most absolute sickening stories. Jesse Ventura has, since he was governor of Minnesota, just spoken out on so many topics that have just lowered him. He'd have to get up on a rock to kick a snake in the butt. That's how low this man is. And now to go after a widow and sue the widow for something that eyewitnesses said happened, and he's trying to save his character. He's trying to save his personality, so he says. And by suing a widow of a man that can't be here to defend himself, how low is that?
Apparently, because the deceased put out a book, that's why Ventura is suing.
Yeah.
Because he wants the profits from the book.
Yeah, it's exactly right. And Chris Kyle, along with many of our revered SEALs and others from Special Forces and Special Ops, very well thought of. And boy, I tell you what, the rest of the SEAL Nation, if I were Jesse Ventura, I would really be careful about the paths I choose to walk down late at night. I'll tell you what, they are not happy about what he's doing.
He's probably going to be a mark for the rest of the Navy SEALs.
You know, this is ridiculous, but I feel sorry for this woman. I feel sorry for the widow. I feel so sorry for her not only losing her soulmate and her husband, but also having to put up with this garbage from a real hoax, and that's Jesse Ventura.
You know what? I would figure that Jesse Ventura would have a little bit more class than this, but apparently not. He's absolutely classless.
Apparently not. You're right. We're going to take a little break and come back in about, 6 minutes, and we're going to have much more on the program. Zeb at the Ranch for this morning, and I know, Gina, I forgot, and I got to do it. A tip of the coffee cup, and our tip of the coffee cup this morning goes to Merv May and Lance Udy and everybody at Burley Livestock. Gina, real quick, if we could have that tip of the coffee cup slurp, go ahead, please.
That is so good.
There you go. Have a great day, Merv May, Lance Udy, and the crew at Burley Livestock. I'll be back in 6. See you then. Welcome back, Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, and all of our great advertisers, including Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland and Burley, and Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Really good folks. By the way, we started something this morning that a lot of you don't know about, but our advertisers do. Sophie's Chatterbox at 530 E Street on the Square in Rupert delivered this morning our first dozen cinnamon rolls to various advertisers and sponsors on this program, and just want to say thank you very much to Sophie's Chatterbox. Wow, the bakery is so delicious, and I'll guarantee you couldn't have a better place to have breakfast, lunch, or supper. Open Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Saturday and Sunday, 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., wedding cakes, cookie bars, homemade bread, everything at Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 E Street on the Square in Rupert. Really nice people. Also, I want to remind everybody about our dear friend Joel Hewitt and his staff at Handsome Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. Oh, my, yes. They absolutely have such a caring attitude. The family is always there to serve you whenever you need to be served. Please call them at 436-5636. Always with the highest ethical standards, with unquestioned integrity, Handsome Mortuary. Call them today for information on pre-planning funerals. They will be more than happy to serve you. Joel Hewitt, Handsome Mortuary in Rupert. Ladies and gentlemen, right now we're going to go over to the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce office and the lovely Kay Cameron. Good morning, Kay.
Good morning, Zeb Bell. How are you?
I am great. Look outside, the blue sky, always a little bit warmer temperatures. Whew, as a matter of fact, good way to sweat in the sauna bath. What's going on over there at the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce?
Well, it is a beautiful day, and I have a guest here with me this morning. His name is Jesus Zavala, and he is our intern for the summer, and I want to welcome him to the chamber, and I want him to have a chance to visit with you and tell you a little bit about what he's going to be doing with us and the things that he's going to learn.
All right, now, Kay, help me a little bit on the first name. You said Jesus?
Jesus, yes.
All right. Good morning, Jesus. How are you?
Oh, pretty good. And how about yourself?
Well, if I was any better, the wrong fat man be wearing my clothes. Good to have you on the program.
Thank you.
All right. Now, what have they got you doing over at the Chamber of Commerce? Have they got you scrubbing the floors and cleaning the restrooms and washing the windows and tidying up all the desks? Or what are you doing?
Oh, do you think so, right? But no, I'm doing a bunch of work from the regatta that currently happened this 2 weekends ago, and it's been great here, and I'm just working on some special projects here and there.
Okay. Now, let me ask you this, Jesus. What about your career? I mean, why did you want to become an intern with the Chamber of Commerce?
Funny story. Well, I started out my summer thinking that I was going to find a job right away, maybe at a mink farm or something, but I heard that they took a 60% hit in their market, and so that really wasn't in the plan for a summer job. And so I went to the Idaho Department of Labor, and they told me that they were looking for some people for their youth program. And so I decided to fill out an application, and wouldn't you know it, here I am.
I'm really impressed with your voice. Now, I have not met you, I have not seen you, but you've got a smile in your voice, and that means a lot. You must really like working with people, is that correct?
I do,
Oh, okay.
I'm so better with a smile, and why frown?
All right, now let me ask you this. What about your education? Tell us a little bit about your education. Are you still in high school, or have you got plans for college, or what are you going to do?
Right now I'm enrolled at CSI in Twin Falls, and just taking a break for the summer and just making some money so I can go back to school and pay for tuition, books, and rent, and just like anybody else, and just going to try and major in agricultural business, and hopefully by spring I should have my associate's degree in it.
Okay, now what do you enjoy the most about being an intern with a Chamber of Commerce office, especially working with a very nice lady like Kay Cameron? What do you enjoy the most?
The thing that I enjoy most is people around me. They're always positive. They always tell me what to do if I don't know how to do something, and just being here is a positive environment.
All right, now, of the duties that you have, I mean, basically, what's your most favorite duty that you perform?
Favorite duty? Well, let's see here. I would probably be helping out the people that come in from other areas, telling them where to go, and just getting to interact with them.
I like the attitude, and I love this idea of a program. Do you want to possibly use your degree after you leave college and get back into possibly working with people like a chamber activity? I mean, what are your plans for the future after you get out of school?
Yeah, I know that, like you said, that'd be great, but what I plan to do after school is probably go into agricultural sales, and make some money, because I plan to transfer to the U of I, because it's a little more expensive than CSI, and so really can't afford it right now, but hopefully I save some money up, and then I can go get my bachelor's degree at the U of I in Moscow.
Are you from this area originally?
Originally, yeah. I'm from Malta, Idaho.
Well, I want to tell you how much it's a pleasure, a treat to talk to you this morning on the program. How long are you going to stay there for the summer? When's the last day that you have to, before you have to go back to school?
The last day, I have to go back to school on August 25th.
So basically about 6 weeks away, and I'll bet you that's going to be kind of a sad day to leave the surroundings there at the chamber and have to go back and start cracking the books, right?
Oh, well, but sadly enough, it'll be worth my future.
Well, God...
It's a day for us, too, because we've sure enjoyed having him here.
Well, God bless him, and I wish the very best. And Kay, I think this is a wonderful program. How long has this program, the internship, been on existence?
Well, this is a program through the Department of Labor, and I'm not sure how long this program is going, and it's a program for youth, and there's certain qualifications that the people need to qualify for. There's an age limit, and I think some other requirements, and Jesus is our third intern that we've had through this program, and it's a great program, and we're just thrilled. He's motivated, he's excited, he's got goals that he wants to achieve. You know, he's trying to put himself through college, and so he's just young and excited and anxious to learn, and we're giving him lots of new things to try.
Oh, excellent. And if people want to have more information about what's going on at the Chamber of Commerce, Kay, tell us how they can call you.
They can call us at 208-679-4793. Come by and see us, and come say hello to Jesus. We're located at 1177 7th Street in Hayburn. Or look us up on the internet at minicazzachamber.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Very well done. And Jesus, good luck to you. And thanks, Kay. God bless. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you. Goodbye.
All right, thank you. Nice young man right there. That's great. Oakley Pioneer Days next week, a flood of blessings. Don't miss it. They're going to start on Tuesday and Wednesday next week with the great big bump and rub car race. This is wild. Puts NASCAR to shame. It's going to be great. And then on Thursday, the Gymkhana. Friday and Saturday, the rodeo, and a whole bunch of events in between. Basketball tourneys and volleyball tournaments, entertainment in the park, chuckwagon breakfast, Goose Creek runoff, events and shows over at the Howell Opera House, and a great big huge Pioneer Day parade. A flood of blessings up at Oakley Pioneer Days next week, the 15th through the 19th. We're going to be getting on the phone in just a minute and talking to our dear friend Vicki at Vicky's Country Garden. Stand by. I also want to remind you that Cameron and Siemens Insurance, absolutely our friends over in Rupert, with the best of life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits. They have it all. One call will make sure that you are protected and covered. 436-4424. Arrange for an appointment today and talk to the professionals, Dean Cameron and Todd Siemens. Very accessible and devoted to serving you. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Oh my goodness, with these warm temperatures, I'll know one thing, the bugs are out. And I'm going to talk to Vicki at Vicky's Country Garden. And boy, this is gardening for idiots. That's named after me. Vicky's Country Garden, 185 South, 600 West of Paul. Good morning, Miss Vicki. How are you?
Just fine, Zeb. It's a beautiful summer morning.
It is, but my goodness, Vicki, with these warm temperatures bordering on hot, I've noticed the bugs are driving us crazy. Last night I had a good friend over to rope a couple of steers, and we about got ate by the bugs.
Yes, there is a lot of bugs coming out right now. I mean, of course, it is, warm temperatures do bring all the diseases and all the bugs and all the fun things. I mean, we all enjoy the warm temperatures, but we have to deal with a few problems at the same time. But there are ways of taking care of those dear little critters. It's not like it's the end of the world. I mean, there are some sprays in that you can use in your yard and things like that will take care of a lot of the gnats and the bugs and things like that are, that are not harmful and that type of thing. But the main thing is we've got a lot of aphid and a lot of things working on some of our vegetable plants and things of that nature. And if you don't catch them in time, they can really do some deep damage to your plants and things like that. Mm-hmm. Check the back sides of your leaves. Check the stems of your plants. That's where those little green wonders are at. Everybody thinks that they are on top of the leaves, but normally they are on the back side of the leaf and climbing the stems And on roses, they'll be up around the new buds usually.
Now, Vicki...
You just need to get some spraying done, but remember, do not spray during the middle of the day in the heat of the day.
Okay.
Early mornings, like 6 o'clock in the morning, or wait until 8 o'clock, 8:30, 9 o'clock at night and go out and do the spraying.
Okay. Now, you say these old pesky critters, they get on the underside of the leaf. Let me ask you a naive and rather not educated question on my part. If you go out and spray, will the spray permeate itself and get under those leaves and take care of those critters?
Well, it does to a certain point, but it's always best if you can to tip your sprayer up, kind of tip up underneath it, come up, and come back, from the underside of the plant as much as you can. If you're wearing gloves or something like that, you can kind of lift those leaves and turn them a little bit and spray underneath the leaves. The more you can get on the stems and on the underside of the leaf, the better the kill you're going to get.
Okay.
On them, and you just have to use some of the. Make sure it's a spray that you can use in your garden. Roses, you can put down a systemic on your roses and just keep them off. There's a rose and flower food that you put down once a month that has a systemic in it that will keep the aphid and that off your roses and a lot of your flowering bushes, and you can even put it in your flower beds and keep the bugs off of some of your flowers and that. You just cannot use it in your vegetables.
Okay. Now,
because it is a systemic, and that means it's going to come up through the plant and go out into the leaves and out into the blooms and out into the fruit. So you do not want a systemic in your garden.
Okay, very well stated. Now, it's not going to be too much longer, and by golly, they're going to be enjoying the fruits of their labors from the gardens that we planted 2 months ago.
This is very true, but there's one thing I've been having some people come in and mention to me, and there are some bugs, they're having trouble with some of the bugs getting in, coming up on the ground, that are coming up into their zucchini and that, and eating their zucchinis and some of the squash and those kind of things that are laying on the ground. So that's where you need to keep your insecticide granules down on the ground in your garden so that you catch those dear little people. Or you can use, if you don't want the actual chemical granules, you can use diatomaceous earth, which is an all-natural product, and you can use it as often and as much as you want because there's absolutely no chemical in it. It can't hurt anything except the bugs.
Okay. Now,
you can put that down underneath your vegetable plants so that as those little critters crawl through it, it cuts them up and kills them.
Ooh, okay. Now, one other item that I wanted to mention this morning in the time remaining is that summertime, a lot of people have projects on, landscaping and the beautification of the outside of their home. There's a lot of people that possibly might be thinking about selling their home, and it's a thing called curb appeal to make it more dressier and look better on the outside for possible buyers. You've got everything for landscaping material over there, plus a lot of good ideas, don't you?
Yeah, we do. We have, if you're wanting to just do a real quick touch-up in your yard, we've got some very nice petunias and marigolds that give you that real bounce of color right now. And they'll bloom right on through the summer and, late into the fall. And we've got all the landscape fabrics, the rock, the bark, the whole bit that you can put down and make it look much nicer. And the theory is you can spend a couple $100 on landscaping, and it will increase the value of your home by a couple of $1,000s. I mean, it's just curb appeal, it's eye appeal, makes it look a lot better. So it's always an investment whenever you put stuff into your yard, especially if you put your weed fabric down, your rock, your bark, those kind of things that are a little more permanent. The people buying it look at that and go, oh, we don't have to do that now, it's already been done. So it does assist in the value of your home, too.
And I want to stress the fact that maybe the thing to do is if people are driving by your location at 185 South, 600 West of Paul on the Burley Paul Highway, maybe if they've got a photograph of the front of their house or the backyard or whatever, just take it in. You can kind of give them some ideas, right?
Sure, we love to do that kind of thing. Just bring us in a picture of it, or come in and we can even work through the rough drawings that you kind of goes like this and it wiggles over here, and we can kind of sketch it out and kind of give you some ideas at that point in time. Photographs work really nice because it gives me an idea as to where windows are at and things of that nature, so I don't get something blocking a window or something to that effect. But yeah, we're more than happy to work with people on any of their landscaping projects and give you ideas as to what to put where and what not to put in there, and the shade, the sun, all those kind of things. So, yeah, just come on in and talk to us, and we'd be glad to help.
Now, Vicki, real quick, any other aspects of the business you want to talk about? The full line of chemicals, everything to control the weeds and the bugs? Quickly, I've got about a minute left.
Well, we do have a full line of Fertilome products, and they are some of the best products around. We have all of the insecticides, the herbicides, the fungicides, and that is our big problems right now is insects and fungus. So come in and talk to us. I mean, there's lots of blight going around. We've got all of the full line of the chemicals that'll take care of all of this and help you have a nice, healthy garden and one that you can reap the benefits out of.
All right, there she is. Absolutely. The Garden Queen. She knows everything about them. Vicki at Vicki's Country Garden, 185 South, 600 West of Paul. Number to call, 438-5663. Go get in the shade, lady. It's going to be hot out there today, and enjoy your day, okay?
All right, thanks, Zip.
God bless you. Have a good one. I think the world of her. She's a very, very nice lady. Vicki at Vicki's Country Garden, giving you all the tips for a better garden and landscaping of your home. All right, let's also tell everybody about Let's Ride. Highway 24 between Rupert and Burley. Oh, my goodness, they're on the summer hours, open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 6. And I'll tell you, they've got the 2015 models that are coming in now, the dirt bikes, Can-Ams, side-by-sides, rebates on some of the 2014 models. They've got all their generators on sale for your camping needs, and in case something happens in the house and the power goes off, I'll tell you what, and watercrafts. Rebates up to $1,000 off on some select models. All of this and more where the fun is sold. Let's Ride, Highway 24 in Rupert. Stop over and see them today. Open 9 to 6, Monday through Saturday. Let's Ride. I tell you, those are good folks. Hey, by the way, this weekend, Silver State Stampede in Elko, Nevada at the Elko County Fairgrounds. Tonight starts the great big kickoff party. Tri-Tip Dinner and Western Trade Show. Old West Bronc Riding. Tomorrow night and Saturday night. PRCA Rodeo. Oh, my, it's going to be fun. Ring of Fear. Don't miss that. All of this and more at the Elko County Fairgrounds for the oldest rodeo in Nevada. The Silver State Stampede in Elko. Come on down. Where in the world are all these dogs coming from anyway?
Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out?
We got dogs running all over. There goes a Doberman. And in hot pursuit, there's Officer Mort with his net. Good morning, Officer Mort. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Do you use a net?
I actually carry a fish net that I use on try to use on some of the smaller dogs.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, but if I've got a large dog, right now we have to dart them if we can't catch them.
Okay. So I'm going to ask Gina to turn, if Gina could turn you up just a little bit. I'm having a real hard time hearing you. In hot summertime days, unfortunately, I would imagine people really need to pay attention to their dogs. Are you finding people that are not providing adequate water, not providing adequate shade, not providing adequate housing? What's the story?
Actually, I ran into a situation yesterday that you had a dog in a travel kennel sitting outside on a patio area with no food or water inside the kennel and direct hot sun.
Oh.
So them plastic kennels and stuff, and that it makes it kind of shady in there, but they do get hot, and basically the inside those kennels get a lot hotter than what the outside temperature is. So I mean, if I catch somebody and stuff and that's not taking care of their pets properly, I give them a warning on that. I give them on that ample time and stuff and that to get it fixed. If they fail to fix it, then I turn around and issue a citation for animal cruelty.
Let me ask you a question. Is it, in most cases, is it naivete and just not knowing, or is it a blatant attempt they don't care?
Most of the time and stuff and that, it's a not knowing thing on that, but there are cases and stuff and that where they go, well, it's a dog, and it's like that's not the right answer. They don't care enough about it to take care of it. So that's when we have to step in and say, well, if you're not going to take care of it properly, then we need you to relinquish the dog to us, and we'll find it a better home.
At that juncture, do most people realize that they could be in a lot of trouble, or do they still act with a belligerent attitude?
A lot of times, stuff in that they'll actually do a 180 and realize that they are in the wrong, especially when we start talking and stuff and that, depending on the type of animal cruelty, and that can wind up being a misdemeanor crime. And the judge can turn around and give them a fine, plus sentence them to spend some time in jail for it.
Mm-hmm. Now, Ken, now's a good time, real quick, before we do our dog feature. We got about 2 minutes left. Adequate water, and I mean water they can get to easily all during the day in these hot days, right?
Yes, they definitely need water. They need to make sure they've got plenty of food. They need to make sure they've got someplace cool, shady area that they can get into. You don't want you wouldn't want to lay out there in the hot baking sun with no food or water and that all day. So treat your animals the same way you'd want to be treated.
Absolutely. Now, what about a feature dog of the week?
We are featuring Desi. She is a brindle and white Staffordshire Bull Terrier cross. She's approximately 1 to 2 years old. Very friendly dog, and that well-mannered, good on a leash. Just great with people, great with kids. She was running with large over in Rupert, eating out of trash cans. Annette, she was kind of on the skinny side. We've actually, Annette, plumped her up, Annette, and she's starting to look real healthy, and she'd make somebody a wonderful, wonderful pet.
Now, is this dog, I didn't hear you say it, maybe you did and I missed it, is she a house dog?
She can be. She does great inside. Annette, she seems to be somewhat potty trained. Annette, it may take a little bit more work and stuff with her, especially after having to be in a kennel facility, Annette. But she'd be easy Annette to finish off the house training with no problem.
All right. And how do they find out more about this dog called Desi?
All they got to do is contact us at the facility at 438-2200, or they can call me on my cell phone at 670-7268.
All right. And by the way, Ken, I don't think we thank you enough for all you do, Minidoka Animal Control. You really have a love for animals and a love for the job, and it shows. And God bless you for all you do for these dogs.
Thank you. And I also want to remind everybody while we've got a few seconds is we had the 4th of July. The dogs got away from them, Annette. I picked up several dogs since all the fireworks have happened, and they need to make sure that they're contacting their animal shelters or dog pounds, Annette, if they're missing an animal, to make sure that they can try to get reunited with their family pet. Very
wise choice. Give us the number one more time.
Our number is 438-2200, or my cell phone is 670-7268.
God bless you, man. Officer Ken Moore, where'd all these dogs come from? Dog Nation. Ken Moore, dear friend, you better believe it. Great service to the community. There you are. Oh, my goodness sakes, let's go right to the phone line, and we have with us a lady I always look forward to having her on my program every Thursday. Rita Ramsey, how are you today?
I'm real good, thank you. How you doing?
Not too bad. Well, wait a minute. Let's just kind of take a deep seat in our comfy chair right now. And
I'm trying to. I'm not that good.
Okay. Let's brace ourselves. I want to talk to you about, there's a big story naturally that I'm going to talk about, the border. But there's another story that I also want to give a little time to you for, because I am so mad. I am so upset at the EPA. I've never liked the EPA. I don't like anything to do with their thuggery and their punkish attitude. And now, Rita, they are and we just heard about it in the last couple of days, they're going to try to access garnishment of your wages or your bank accounts for fines that they deem necessary against their rules without having to go to court. This is totally ridiculous.
Well, I think this is just another sign of them trying to be in control of everything. They want to do stuff. They're lawless. They do not want to go and follow procedures and do what needs to be taken care of. Just how important is the EPA stuff anyway? You know, it doesn't hold a candle to all the other stuff that we're trying to deal with in this nation. Now, the one thing that I think would be necessary is you had mentioned to call all of our representatives and senators, but I think somebody needs to get Congressman Simpson's office on the phone, and it should be numbers of us, and say, we want to know just exactly what you're going to do and what you're going to do now. But before you call Simpson's office, get a hold of Stallings and ask him what is his line of possibilities of things that he will do if he's elected congressman instead of Simpson.
I couldn't agree with you more. As a matter of fact, I think that I'm frustrated. I think that's a good word. I'm frustrated right now because everybody always says, well, contact your senators and your congressmen. Rita, what are they doing? I don't care if it's any of ours, whether it's Simpson, Labrador, Crapo, or Risch, or whether it's somebody in Illinois, or if it's Barrasso over in Wyoming. What really are they doing to thwart a complete government, kind of a Gestapo attitude of they're going to do what they want anyway?
It certainly looks to the average citizen that they're doing absolutely nothing, so I would be interested to know what they're doing in our behalf. The big problem is that we've got a bunch of Senate and Congress people in Washington that seem like they're absolutely doing nothing. They're not standing up against the border stuff. They're not standing up against anything that's going on. They're not calling in and saying, hey, we're gonna get special counsel in here on the IRS. We're gonna go around Eric Holder. He obviously isn't gonna do anything. There is a ton of stuff that needs to be done, and if they would band together, they could. The only thing that I can say is somebody's got our representatives, and I'm talking about our as in the United States, not necessarily just Idaho. I think they've been blackmailed into keeping their mouth shut. I don't know whether you saw it this morning or not, but I saw an article where Brian Kilmeade was talking to the Democrat congressman from Texas who's been making a big stink about President Obama going to the border, and he won't go. And Brian Kilmeade asked him, he said, hey, have you, sometimes when people voice opposition against what's going on with the federal government, they kind of get nasty phone calls and stuff from them. Have you got that phone call? And the guy said, yes, I have. And he said, well, what did they say? And he said, well, let's just say I'm focusing on getting things taken care of at the border because that's what my constituents want. And he wouldn't elaborate any more on the call, but he did get a call, and he was basically told to shut up.
Yes. Kind
of like all of the people who are working down at the border. The reason Obama doesn't want to go to the border is he doesn't want all of that in the background of his photo picture.
Okay, no, but wait a minute. You touched on something I talked about first hour. You know, why with this border problem? Why with all these kids in detainment centers? Why with not knowing who they are? Why with all the medical problems? Why with the transportation problems? Why is there such secrecy? I mean, I have talked to people down there that work in those areas, and they've been sworn to a gag order of they can't say this, they can't talk about that, they can't refer to anything about what the government's doing or why. Why is there such a gag order on this?
They don't want it to get out to the press and turn into a full-blown scandal, of which it is. When people see what really is going on down there, everybody in the United States of America and probably around the world would be madder than heck at President Obama and the basic advertising of it's okay for you to come in here business.
I don't want to sound simplistic, but I think you and I are on the same page, and you sit down and probably have thought about this also. Here we have a wide range of ages, from maybe 3, 4, 5, up to teenagers, and they don't have the paperwork on them. They don't have a file saying, I want to go to Grandma and Grandpa's house in Toledo, Ohio, or I want to come up to Burley, Idaho, and live with my aunt and uncle. They don't have all this. You know, I still maintain in the back of my mind that what I I said about a month ago on this program is very possibly true, that these are orphans that have been, and I hate to use this word, pawned off on the United States for the benefit and basically the security of those other countries. They just didn't want to take care of them. I honestly am starting to believe that.
Well, I think there's a good possibility of that. The very biggest problem that we've got is if somebody had the intestinal fortitude to just put them on planes and send them back, and that would quell it really quick. Somebody mentioned, I can't even remember where I heard it, that back in, I think it was in the 70s, there was a ton of people coming from Brazil. And we finally just had to say no, and we put them on planes and send them back home, and it just shut the floodgates immediately.
Yeah, but Rita, here we're talking about $4 billion. The president wants $4 billion with a B dollars. We are broke. I dare somebody to call this program and tell me that we're still one of the most well-off countries in the world because we're borrowing money at high interest rates. We are broke. Now he wants to take $4 billion and throw the money at this situation. But some of the people that I know back in Washington and New York have both, in both locations, have said, wait a minute, be very wary of that $4 billion because possibly only a small percentage of that money, like $110 million, is going to be used as possible border security money.
Well, and it wasn't even specified, so we don't even know if a dime of it would be spent on border security.
That's the point. I mean, the American public can't afford this $4 billion just basically to hand it to the government. Lord knows where the money's going to go.
Well, the thing that always bothers me about this particular administration, and I'm not saying it didn't happen in the others, I just don't think it was as blatant if it did happen, and that is they'll get all kinds of money approved through Congress, and then they funnel it off through wherever they want to instead of putting it where it's supposed to be. You think of all that money that was given out to the various different green energy projects and stuff like that, and how all of them went broke. And I'm sorry, but I still believe that as they gave that money out to those various different organizations, there was under-the-table money to whoever was passing it out so that they didn't have to claim it and they could just become very rich. And then it went to where it did, and they just took out bankruptcy and, oh, well, shoot, it didn't work, so off we go instead of being any accountability for it. But this is what's happened all the time, and I think this is the same thing with this. I think the Senate ought to say, we will approve $2 million, and that is enough money for plane tickets for every one of the kids who have come across the border in the last 6 months. Mm-hmm. And that's all we're approving. So start buying plane tickets and send them back.
All right, now I want to talk to you about Obama himself. I don't like the guy, and I have made my statements many, many times on this program that his ideology, his attitude, and the way he conducts himself and his persona I find detestable. I have no respect for him as president. That being said, he has used photo op opportunities to promote himself to the media. When Hurricane Katrina came along, yo boy, he had to jump over to New Jersey and stand on the beach with Governor Chris Christie. That was a photo op. He's used photo ops many times, as late as night before last at a bar in Denver playing pool. But he made a frivolous, stupid statement yesterday saying the border is not a photo op, so that's why I'm not going to go. Rita, this is hogwash.
Well, first of all, the border is a photo op, but he doesn't want it in his repertoire. And the reason is because when you see all of those little kids bunched up in those holding cells and being covered with tinfoil blankets and that kind of thing, and you see the squalor that they're in, and it's getting worse and worse and worse, he doesn't want that because that will go out over everywhere. It'll be on every newspaper and everything. And he absolutely does not want to have that in the background of his picture.
Yeah, but, I don't know what your thoughts were. I've already had some people call me on my cell phone and kind of chastise me. Well, the president needs some free time. The president needs to go and relax a little bit. Wait a minute. Here he goes to Texas, and I'm not buying this garbage about relax. He goes to Texas for a fundraiser, actually 3 of them, and he's only less than 500 miles from the border. He won't go down and see the problem, and on the other hand, this man absolutely is more supportive of fundraisers and more supportive of his photo ops for his benefit, and he's not taking care of his duties while the Mideast is in flames and ready to blow up into Armageddon. This man goes and plays pool.
It's really sad. That is just shows that he is in definite stance of dereliction of duty. He should be taking care of things. He should be at the White House, pulling in people that know what's going on, giving him reports constantly, and instead of just planning the one vacation after the other. All of his little trips for Democrat fundraising they're just fun trips. Then he can say to the Democrats, hey, I raised all kinds of money. You might not like my reputation, and I might be toxic to everybody, but I raised a whole bunch of money, and just leave me alone. I did what I needed to do, so I can just do the rest, whatever I want to do.
You know, last night I was watching Bill O'Reilly, and you know my feelings on Bill O'Reilly. I'm very hot and cold on him, and I 80% don't like the man because of his arrogancy and his conceitedness, but 20% he does at times bring forth some good opinions on some stories. But you know, when you talk about Obama and you talk about a dereliction of duty and you talk about his entire administration in 6 years, I dare you or anyone to tell me what good for the country has this administration done?
I don't know that anything good has happened, because every time you see something that you think, well, maybe that's not so bad, you know, he did get bin Laden. I mean, I think that the military got bin Laden. I don't even want to give Obama credit for that. But I don't know of anything. Everything he has, everything that has been done, all of the people that work with him, all of the stuff just leads to that Cloward and Piven thing where it's overwhelmed the system, and then we can be in control of stuff because we'll just start new laws and new ways of life because we're under emergency stuff, and we just have to do what we have to do to just keep alive.
Well, you know what you just said is really, really important to remember for anyone across the country. We have, as an American public, been deluged with all kinds of really bad scandals and really potentially dangerous scandals, all the way from Benghazi with 4 Americans losing their life, all the way to the NSA spying scandal, all the way to the IRS scandal, all the way to any and all of the problems now on the border, and now with the EPA and others. I mean, this administration is really, truly unraveling like a cheap suit, and still, most of the major media will not condemn this man.
Well, they're going to find out that they're in danger of losing their jobs, because personally, I think the news media places, whether it's the TV or the newspapers, they're going down the crapper. They are headed down. They might not want to admit it, and I think that's why you've finally seen a few of these different news outlets come out and make some kind of report on what's going on, is because they know that they're in trouble, and they're not going to be having their head above water. This is just an analogy, but my husband and I watched 24 for years, and what we'd do is wait till the end of the season, and then we'd get it on DVD so we could just watch all of them instead of having to wait week after week after week to find out what happened. And we've DVR'd the last 2 or 3 because we didn't want to wait until the end. And it just shows one crook after the other killing off who they were working with and supposed to be their friends and everything. And I don't know how many times during this last one I turned to my husband and I said, yeah, there's no honor among thieves. Well, I think that's the way that this is going to be. There's no honor among thieves, and Obama and the news people are those people, and pretty soon they're going to start going after each other, and I think they'll end up destroying each other in the end. But they've sure let the news media has certainly let this administration get away with just everything.
I want to talk to you about another unraveling, and little by little, inch by inch, kind of like an Abbott and Costello routine, Lois Lerner and the IRS might be having some of the covers pulled off their heads. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Stand by, but right now it's time for the weather with MichaelRogersWeather.com. Sportsman's Warehouse, 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin Falls, with my buddy Reese Widmeyer, the manager. Oh my, quality gear gives you the edge to perform well and enjoy the journey outside. Absolutely the great indoors at Sportsman's Warehouse for those who love the great outdoors. Whether they're fishermen or hunting or archery or camping or boating or ATVs, they've got all the knives and the tools. They've got all the clothing. They've got all the footwear. They've got everything, and I love this store. I love this store. Sportsman's Warehouse, 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin Falls. You stop in and see them today. And right now, here is Michael Rogers Weather.
Hey everybody, Michael Rogers for Zip at the Ranch. Slight chance of a thunderstorm for today and tomorrow. Temperatures, you're going to be on the cool side. How about 93 for the high? 94 for the high tomorrow. When you get to the weekend, look for temperatures in the upper 90s, like 97, 98. It'll be a lot of sun and very little clouds. There you have it. See you Monday. Enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.
Thank you very much. Michael Rogers Weather, brought to you by this hour, Sportsman's Warehouse, 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin Falls. Rita, there is an email that all of a sudden, boop, it popped up. And I think we're going to see other, boop, it popped up emails. And Lois Lerner's a little bit worried, as are other members of the IRS and also the White House staff. Did you hear about this?
I did, and she ought to be worried, because the one thing that she was trying to do is make sure that she could hide everything. When she found out that somebody said, oh, yeah, those aren't going to come up, this is private conversation, it isn't like real email, it was kind of like, oh, okay, now we can do anything and not worry about it. Even that somebody would bring up that instance, whether they can prove it or not, I don't really know. But she's going to be found out if they'll just do it. The big question is are they going to do something before we change administrations 2.5 years from now?
Well, that's a good question, but you know, the equivalency of talking about this problem with the IRS and then going back to our first part of our segment, talking about the EPA, think about this and give me your response. We have, between the EPA and the IRS, the most thugs, the most punks, the most demanding on our freedoms, the most absolute Gestapo attitude. We really should be concerned as citizens about the EPA and the IRS. They're trying to take over and control every aspect of our lives.
Well, that's absolutely true, and I think that by giving all of these different agencies all the power that they're giving them, we don't stand a chance. And I go back to my same question: where's our Congress? Where's our Senate? What has happened to them? I think they've been blackmailed, and they have to just stand there and keep their mouth shut and don't do anything. But, you know, we can start off with the Obama administration. You know darn good and well, and so do I, that there was voter fraud from the get-go. And then we had Fast and Furious, and then they implemented Common Core, and then we had the health care. And then we've got this IRS scandal, and the Benghazi scandal, and the NSA, and the border, and the EPA. Do people in this country not feel like that, hey, we've got some big problems going, what can we do? Or are people just sitting back saying, yeah, we do have problems, but, oh well, there's probably nothing I can do? Because there is something you can do. And these people who have given this power over to these various agencies and who have done the horrible things that they've done, that, you know, like the Fast and Furious in the IRS and the intimidation, that type of thing, the NSA. In fact, this morning on the news, there was a thing where our CIA people have been asked to leave Germany over the NSA deal.
Right, right. You know, Rita, I'm almost out of time, but I know I do not want to end the program without mentioning the Tea Party. And what about it? I mean, you don't often hear anything on the national news or even local news about what's going on with the Tea Party. What are your thoughts? Is there anything that you're going to be doing for the rest of the summer going into the fall that you want to highlight? Go ahead quickly, please.
Well, we do have meeting tonight at 7 o'clock at the City of Burley. We're going to try and get people informed about, there's some Common Core things coming up that we need to be informed about. There's urban renewal stuff that we've got to kind of educate everybody on and let them understand what's going on with that. The main thing that we're going to do tonight is we're going to talk about the Idaho GOP convention and what happened there and why all of a sudden things just got really, really bad. It wasn't just a Friday the 13th bad day. It was there was a lot of stuff that happened, and it was because there were some more liberty-minded people there instead of just those same good old boys. Anyway, that's what we're going to do. We're just going to try to get people informed, and then we're going to have to see what we can do about the elections. I think there's a lot of our state people, including the governor, that are just a little bit worried about maybe the Democrats taking over because they have not united the people who are more conservative than they are. The GOP has not.
Well, I certainly appreciate your taking the time every Thursday to come on and talk about what's going on in the land of news and politics. Thank you so much, Rita Ramsey. God's blessings, and we'll talk to you next Thursday.
Okay, thanks, Ab.
Thank you. Have a good day. Thank you much. Real quick, I want to remind everybody about sugar beet growers. Sugar beet growers introducing Preaxor from BASF, the newest form of chemistry for sugar beets to help fight disease and potentially increase yield and sugar content for your sugar beets. Absolutely. Preaxor contains headline and a new compound called Xemium that also provides excellent control for powdery mildew. As I said, with the application of BASF's Preaxor 45 to 60 days prior to harvest, you have the potential of higher yields and more sugar content for your sugar beets. Contact your local ag chem supplier today or call my buddy BASF Ron Ellis at 431-6776 or Tim Perry at 844-0682. BASF's Preaxor for your better sugar beets. You know what? This time of the day, and Gina knows what's coming. Caller, I have to get this in quickly. I'll take your call in about 3 minutes. If you can hold, please. I've got to get this on the air real quick. It's time for Starving to Death. If you're hungry, I know some great places to go for lunch today, including Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. Oh, try the Southern Baked Burrito, either soft shell or grilled shell, either chicken or steak, made a special way that only Kip knows. It's delicious. I know. You better believe it. The Tamolito Burrito, the Bandito Burritos, the Nacho Burritos, Nachos, Chimichangas, all of this and more at Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. You know what? Burgers Etc. is waiting for you. 2 locations. They're located at 124 South Oneida in Rupert and 700 North Overland in Burley. Summer's here, and Burgers Etc. has 16-ounce root beer floats after 3 p.m. for only 99 cents. I'm not kidding. And fresh strawberry shakes. You're going to love them. And every Sunday, shrimp dinner special at the Burley store. Burgers Etc. in Burley and Rupert. Let's not forget our friends at Steve-O's, 290 South, 600 west of Hayburn. Food made the way you like it. The patio's open. They've got a new entryway, all remodeled. Oh, it's nice. It's comfortable. And you can go over and enjoy it with your friends and have some great food like the pork chops with salad and choice of potatoes. You're going to love it. And friendly servers, dedicated staff at Steve-O's. Like I said, food made the way you like it. Duck Uglies. Oh, my goodness sakes. Duck Ugly at 163 West Highway 30 in Burley, right next to Berry Equipment and Rental. Ribeye steaks. I had that ribeye. It'll knock your socks off good. New York steak. They've got some great sandwiches like the Philly cheesesteak and the chicken Chicken Bacon Ranch. Oh, my. Duck Uglies is kid and family friendly, and they'd love to see you. Open Tuesdays through Saturdays, 11 to 9:30. Duck Ugly, 163 West Highway 30 in Burley. And last but not least, here we go to the AC Drive-In, 601 East Main in Burley. Voted to be and have the Best Hamburger Award for the Minicash area. Why? The AC Drive-In. They're known for all their milkshakes, all the different flavors, and of course the ranch burgers and the famous Farmer Brown burgers and the three-piece fish and chips with small fry. You're going to love the food. You're going to love it. Absolutely stop in today with your family for summer fun eating right there at the AC Drive-In, 601 East Main in Burley. And those are some great places to go if you're hungry and starving to death. Now, let's quickly go to the phone line. Caller, real fast. I've only got a minute left. Go ahead.
Okay, just in case the voters are confused about which party to vote for, I'd like to let them know that during the 2012 election deal there, Barack Obama was endorsed by the American Communist Party.
Yes.
That's a fact.
I've got some stories on that we're going to talk about on Monday. Tony, always appreciate your calls. God bless you, man. Thanks much.
Oh, okay, bud. Thanks.
You betcha. That man keeps up on top of things, and we're going to have a little bit more about that to follow up next week on the program. We're going to take a little break. I got to sit back and go, breathe deep, breathe out. There we go. And coming up next hour, we've got all kinds of good things, a lot of nice people, so don't miss a minute of it. 6 minutes. ABC News is next. I'll be right back. Oh, my, here we go. Hour number 3 on a Thursday, Zeb at the Ranch. And, of course, our major sponsor is our Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All of them are there. All are great people, too. All 7 locations. And they're ready to serve you right now with all your tires, all your brake service, everything at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, along with some of our great advertisers. And we're going to talk to these folks in just a few moments. Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley, and our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland in Burley. Hey, by the way, the Chadwick Sports Grill, what have they got for a special today? Beef stir fry over rice with soup or salad, just $9.95. Beef stir fry sounds delicious. It will be at the Chadwick Sports Grill. Great, folks. I love the environment in there. 139 West Main in Burley. You stop in and see them today. Right now, let's go on down to Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley, and I have not got a clue who's on the other end of the line. Surprise me.
Zev, it's Jason Lee today.
I'm surprised. Hi, Jason.
Me on the show.
How you doing this morning anyway?
You know, we're doing great. We're just plugging right along. Got a lot going on here, so...
All right. Now, how did the 4th of July go?
You know what? We had some really good specials. We had a lot of traffic in here. We had some really good things going on, and then of course we're able to jump over and watch the fireworks here in Burley, and just had a great holiday.
All right, now tell me, what's cooking over there today, right now, on furniture specials, carpet specials, whatever, at Lee's Furniture?
Well, we're getting ready for the sidewalk sale coming up here next week, Zeb, and so we've got a number of different things we've been working on. One is the 14-piece living room set for just $11.99. There's a number of selection of Sofa Love sets you can do in the set. It includes the Sofa Love, the 3-piece occasional tables, a pair of lamps, a throw, a rug, accessories. It's really going to give you that whole living room setting at just $11.99, and it's not just one option there. There's multiple options. You know, there's just here in the store we probably have about 10 different Sofa Love sets that work in that collection. Lots of different tables, lots of lamps, rugs. They do have interior designers that have put a number of packages together, so if if you're wanting to take advantage of that, basically a free interior design, putting packages together, or you can just customize it and choose whatever ones you want to add in your setting.
Okay. Now, what else? Boy, you got their attention now.
You know what? We've got the flooring on special. We've got carpet remnants. Some is big enough to do even 2 bedrooms, and those are just starting at about 66 cents a square foot. We've got in-stock carpets from Smart Strand and whatnot starting at 99 cents a square foot. Vinyl at 88 cents a square foot. The glueless fiberglass stacked vinyl. Really nice stuff. It's going to give you a softer feel, a warmer feel for bathrooms. People just absolutely love them. We do a lot in kitchens, even living rooms with this newer type of vinyl, and still very affordable, but yet just gives you a different change.
All right, now, one thing, too, when they get done kind of remodeling or adding furniture to the dining room or whatever, they need a good sleep at night. What about mattresses?
Zeb, we have got a number of mattresses on special right now. I've got a $1,200 mattress at $599. It's a pocketed coil, foam encased, really nice mattress. I also have some cover closeouts where they're changing the cover on the mattresses, and so we just blow out the ones that we have in to bring in the new covers. Not that anything's wrong with them, or they're just basically changing the fabric on them. But I've got a king size that's a $4,800 hybrid memory foam with pocketed coil mattress, and we have got that at $1,488. A $4,800 mattress at $1,488. If that's a king size, I've got the queen size at $1,188. Just some amazing specials on mattresses. So if you're needing some, hurry in. We'll help you find the right sleep that you're looking for.
All right. Tell everybody the hours at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More.
We are open 9 to 6 on weekdays and 10 to 5 on Saturday here at 459 Overland Avenue here in Burley.
All right, Jason. Excellent job. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. I'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Eb.
Thank you, sir. Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland and Burley. Some really, really nice people. You know what? It's time right now for our Cassia County School Days, and I really enjoy this segment. And before we get started, I want to say thanks so much to Debbie Critchfield. She has done an outstanding job of helping us line up everybody on school days in Cassia County. And our 2 sponsors, of course, we want to say thank you very much to A Child's World, 1308 Overland in Burley. If you're going on a road trip, they've got all the great activities to keep your children happy and quiet in the back seat of the car. And they've got all the summer clothes on sale, and they've got all the baby cribs. They've got their annual sidewalk sale that's going to begin next week on July 18th at A Child's World in Burley. You stop in. It's something for the whole family at A Child's World. Also, don't forget that Ambulatory Surgery Center is serving you with the best of outstanding outpatient surgery care in a friendly, caring place. Ambulatory surgery care, of course, right there on Highland Drive in Burley. Number to call, 677-8888. 677-8888. You be sure and give them a call today for any and all of the outstanding outpatient surgeries, and they can help you performing over 100 procedures each and every month. A Child's World and, of course, Ambulatory Surgery Center, bringing you school days in Cassia County. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very, very honored to have this lady on our program, and she is the Cassia County school nurse, and her name is Kyle Hodges. Good morning, Kyle. How are you?
Good. I'm very good. Thank you.
Nice to have you back on the program. You did such an outstanding job the last time you were on the show, and I'll look forward to having you on more times in the future. Kyle, one of the subjects that really concerns me and it may come into effect right here in the Magic Valley, and that's what's happening on the border with the increased influx of diseases that are following many of these adolescents in across the border, whether they're 5 years old or 14 years old, and we're seeing tuberculosis, we're seeing scabies, we're seeing lice problems, we're seeing even the potentiality of leprosy and polio. What can you tell us about the dangers with all of these kids coming across our borders?
Well, it's really going to be difficult for us to be able to probably track and evaluate that data. I know that in trying to get a little bit of information, I was able to look at what El Paso County is doing, and that's, of course, the border that's directly affected by immigrants. And they're noticing through their health departments increased numbers of the diseases that you're talking about. So, it's fairly obvious that in underdeveloped countries, and the majority of these immigrants are coming from South and Central America, where they really don't have good access to health care, and their immunizations are probably not up to standard to the United States if they've had any immunization. So it really is a growing concern and a problem that, I think will affect our health departments across the United States. So I don't really have any good data or good numbers other than the fact that Texas can definitely recognize that certain diseases are increasing in, big numbers. Cases of tuberculosis are doubling from what they have had in previous years. And so the impact on the medical community to treat cases of disease that immigrants come with is a growing concern for states that are housing are taking care of these immigrants as they move across the border. So it really is an issue that affects all of us. And so I think the piece that I take from this is it makes it all the more important for everybody in our community that we reside with to make sure that we are protected and our families are protected, that we all are current on our immunizations, and don't put that piece aside thinking that, that the risks outweigh the benefits, because obviously as individuals come to our communities that are unvaccinated and could potentially bring diseases, then that puts those at risk that are not fully vaccinated. So,
Kyle, let me ask you.
Big, serious concern, and I think probably this one piece is probably not as discussed or out in the press as much as it should be, because it is it's a serious concern.
Let me ask you this. You know my stand on vaccinations, and you know why I feel the way I do. I'm adamant, absolutely adamant, and I am not going to back up and be nice. I'm not going to back up and say, oh, well, that's your opinion. I am absolutely adamant that parents should be almost arrested for child abuse if they don't have their children vaccinated. We cannot risk having these diseases come back into this country, polio, etc. It's just a risk that parents should never put their children through.
Right. And I think probably because of the fact that most adults don't even remember or don't, I was at a conference just a couple months ago, and they had an actual iron lung there and showed that piece of equipment. And, that's not something I in my lifetime have ever worked around. And these are diseases that people don't have in their memory. So I think that that's a part. We have the internet, and we have more hysteria and more concerns about the safety, or, people have concerns about autism or different things that they read about, and they're afraid that that might potentially be a risk for their children. But, really, the risks of the disease is so much greater than the hysteria that people are afraid of. So, it's just, we're seeing return of diseases that have been eliminated, and measles is a prime example that we considered measles to be eliminated in the year 2000, and this year already we have had record outbreaks from January to July of measles, and that's really concerning because measles really has lifelong implications. I mean, hearing loss and, death brain damage. I mean, many serious concerns come with these diseases, and I think because of the fact that we haven't seen them, we don't know what the implications and what comes with those diseases. So there's been documented cases in neighboring states. Utah and Oregon both have had documented outbreaks of measles this past year. And so I think we need to recognize it might not be in our community today, but it could be there next week. So, that really is a serious, serious concern. And so as we have work aliens that come from across the borders, that come legally, work visas, they come, but they also have their medical evaluations when they come to the country. So they're tested for TB, tuberculosis, and different diseases, and they get their immunizations updated, and they're great about having that relationship with the health department. But these individuals that are crossing are afraid of deportation, so really they don't even enter into that medical community to protect their health in most cases. So it's a serious problem that I think that we're going to need to be facing on health department levels across the country.
Kyle, what are the rules? What are the rules and regulations and, of course, the law about vaccinations before they can attend schools? Are these rules being bent? Are these laws being somewhat subsidized, or I should say minimized? I mean, what's going on at the schools? Are they really enforcing the vaccination rules and regulations?
Well, that's really a concern across our state. The state requires that every school district fills out the vaccination status of every student in our school district. The legislature mandates that we have required immunizations. There's many suggested immunizations that are not required but are encouraged. For instance, our flu vaccine. It's encouraged, but we don't have to have that to attend school. There's many of those. Required immunizations are tetanus, are measles, mumps, and rubella, and all, the gamut of immunizations that are required from infancy, then to pre-entry to come to school in kindergarten. The legislature required that everybody needed to be immunized at the time of registration. So when they entered school that very first day, they should have had all of their required immunizations. That saying, school districts across our state are dependent on money that comes from the state. That's a reimbursement that comes from that daily attendance of students. So they get X number of monies allotted for every single child. They don't want to send children home that are not current on those immunizations. So school districts across the state have letters that we send out saying, your child is missing this immunization or that immunization, and we work tirelessly to try and make sure that families are current. But to be honest with you, every single year we have stragglers. We will have stragglers that don't get their immunizations. We explain to them the importance of vaccinations, but we across the state, I think, are very, very slow to tell these kids they can't come to school tomorrow. So to me as a nurse, I think, unless we all get on the same page and say, every superintendent across the state will say, we've got to put some bite behind what we say and expect everybody to have current immunizations. It really is, I think, boils down to money. And school districts are struggling financially and depend on that ADA money that comes from the state. So to send kids home, you're losing that money. However, they need to recognize that if we had an outbreak, every one of those kids that's not current or that's missing vaccinations would be sent home from the health department because they would be at risk of picking up diseases because they would not be fully immunized. And so if that would be the case, then they would lose a lot more average daily attendance because those kids might be out for 2 weeks until an outbreak would be contained. So it's really, that one is a tough standard to really hold the schools and parents accountable. And we do documentations every single November 1st. Every school district is required to report to the state of Idaho the status of every student in their school district. The number that are immunized, the ones that have filed exemptions, and the ones that are missing vaccinations. And the state has all of that data on a registry.
All I'm going to say, and I'm out of time, I wished I had more time because you are so eloquent and so well-knowledged in this area. All I'm going to say is this. I want to pursue this further on immunizations. I will lend any part of my program necessary to really preach and teach about vaccinations. If you want to come back on in the very near future, prior to school starting up this fall, and doing a segment on this, you are more than welcome, because I am going to meet...
I'll talk about it when I'm on again, because it really, I think parents need to recognize that if really they're jeopardizing their children's health by not being current on all of these immunizations, and it's the best way we can keep everybody in our community healthy. So it really, I mean, it's just critically important that people recognize the value of just simple immunizations. And
I got to run, Kyle. I'm way late, Kyle. I hate to be rude to you. I got to get going. I've got another segment, but God bless you, Kyle Hodges, the Cache County school nurse.
Thanks for having me.
Please come back in the near future. Thank you so much. I do appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Cache County School Days brought to you by our dear friends at both A Child's World on Overland and Burley and the Ambulatory Surgery Center on Highland Drive in Burley. Thank you very much for presenting Cache County School Days. Real fast, I want to remind you about Harris Plumbing NG. For all your plumbing service needs, don't forget, one call, that's all. The job is done, and it is done professionally and respectfully. 431-8633. That's the number for Nathan Harris Plumbing, Harris Plumbing NG. Call them today. Reliable, responsible, and professional. I am very impressed. You will be too. Call Harris Plumbing NG. Right now, let's get on the phone line, and we're going to say a good morning to a young lady that, along with her husband, they've opened up a brand new business in the Burley area, and we're very proud to have them on our program. And that's Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Hello, Whitney Cheney. How are you?
Good. How are you this morning?
I am fantastic. Now, everybody has heard you on my program, Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley, and your promise that you can meet or beat any price on flooring. Talk about that a little bit, would you please?
Well, that's right. We already have the best prices in town, and we have been able to beat everybody's price without trying. But, if you get a bid from somebody else, I can promise that we can meet or beat that price.
All right. And you have a slogan for your company that you say where your home design needs are aisles apart, not miles apart. Tell us about that.
Well, my husband and I, when we moved back to the Burley area, we discovered that there wasn't a one-stop shop for people to come and pick out cabinets, countertops, backsplash, flooring. And so we wanted to create a store where someone could come in and pick out everything that they needed in one place.
Well, that sounds great. I've got a little list here, like the hardwoods, the laminates, the vinyl sheeting, cabinets, Oakley stone, natural stone. You do everything. How in the world can your husband and you take care of all this?
Well, it's been a lot of work. Some of the work, though, we have different people install the tile for us, especially showers. But Kyle's just a hard worker, and he's been able to manage everything really well.
Now, you also say that if somebody will call 678-6945 and they need to have a kind of an in-the-house consultation, you'd be more than happy to stop over and kind of give them a bird's-eye view as to what you think you can do to help them, right?
Yeah, some people when they're remodeling, they just don't know what colors for paint, what color of carpet would look good with the paint color that they already have, or, even what type of cabinet they want. And we want to help our clients, I guess, design and choose good colors that make a room look beautiful.
All right. I really like the attitude that you have about your business and serving people, and also talk about serving people. I understand that on behalf of Cheney Flooring and Home Design, you're kind of working with the Cache County Fair and Pro Rodeo over the Chris Cagle concert. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, we are one of the sponsors for the Chris Cagle concert, and actually we have 2 VIP tickets and 2 backstage passes to give away. So if you get on our Facebook page and click on more and then click on sweepstakes, you can enter to win those tickets. And the drawing will be August 5th, so you better get on our page quick and sign up. You can enter once every day.
All right, now tell us the Facebook and also your webpage. Tell us those how to get on those one more time.
Okay, so our Facebook page is just Cheney Home Design, and our web address is www.cheneyhomedesign.com.
All right. And by the way, if they want to stop in and visit with you at Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley, all they have to do is look for the blue door. Is that right?
That's right. On our street, we were looking around and we, saw all these green doors and thought that maybe we would be different and have a blue door that people could find easier.
All right. Well, Kyle and Whitney Cheney of Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Whitney, it's good to talk to you. It's been a long time.
Thank you so much, Zeb. We're really happy with all the advertising and everything. Thanks.
Well, God bless and have a wonderful weekend, and we'll have you back on again soon. Thanks so much.
Okay, thanks, Zeb.
You bet. Thank you. Wonderful folks. Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Really, really nice people. Let's take a look here. What else have I got to tell you real quick before I send it back over to Gina? I want to make sure I didn't forget anything. And I think we're up to speed. We're going to take a small break right here at the bottom of the hour. Turn it over to Gina. I'll be right back.
And now back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb.
Thank you very much. Welcome back. And we're going to have our guest with us on the phone in just a moment. But stand by right now. I'd like to remind you, next week, Oakley Pioneer Days. My goodness sakes, and the merchants over in Oakley want you to come on down and enjoy Oakley Pioneer Days with them as they celebrate this great big 2014 event. Smith's Cafe, 135 East Main in Oakley, saying, hey, we've got great food. We make our 3rd-pound burger, onion rings to die for, and they're open Mondays through Saturdays, 6:30 in the morning to 1 p.m., Sundays to 11. I'll tell you what, absolutely great food at Smith's Cafe in Oakley. And also our thanks to Oakley Valley Stone, 204 West Main Street in Oakley. And they wish the people of Oakley a very happy 127-year anniversary. If you're looking for stone for a new fireplace, a headstone for a loved one, landscaping boulders, look no further than Oakley Stone. And believe me, they sell Oakley Stone and keep it simple, period. Wonderful folks at Oakley Valley Stone. Celebrating, of course, Oakley Pioneer Days next week. Hey, by the way, also, I want to remind you that coming up in not too distant future is going to be the Lincoln County Fair and Rodeo. And they're going to kind of kick things off on July 12th with a great big tractor and truck pull. They got the big, heavy muscle types coming in at 6 p.m. on July 12th. And don't forget, too, they're going to have a ranch rodeo on July 19th and all kinds of 4-H and FFA horse shows and special barrel racings and special IMPRA rodeo. Going to be great. Don't miss a minute of it. The Lincoln County Fair and Rodeo coming up, and we'll tell you more about that. That ranch rodeo is going to be a lot of fun on the 19th. Stay posted for more about the Lincoln County Fair and Rodeo. Right now, let's go to the phone lines, and I believe we have with us on the phone Kylene and Jonathan Jones from down in Utah. How are you folks this morning?
We are doing well.
Well, it's such a treat to have you on the air, and you've got a book that's called The Practical Prepper. What in the world is this book all about?
It's about helping normal, everyday people become prepared for the things that life has in store for us.
Now, when you say that what life has in store for us, I'm assuming that, like, if it's bad weather in the wintertime and they're stranded at home for a few days, or if the electricity goes off, give us some situations and emergencies that this book would be good for.
You know what, Zeb, we have a really bad connection. I can barely hear you.
So what I think you said is give you some examples of some of the stuff that we might be facing.
Yes, and I'll have Gina turn it up in your headsets just a little bit more. Gina, if you could turn up my microphone, and so they can hear me. I did ask that about how to prepare for various emergencies. Give us some examples as to what we can find in the book.
So in the first part of the book, we talk about a risk evaluation. So depending on where you live in the country or your personal circumstances, you're going to face different risks. Now, there are natural hazards that could become a disaster, such as the hurricanes and earthquakes, and all of those kinds of things are definitely dependent upon your location. Then there are other different man-made disasters that we want to prepare for, whether it's a nuclear event or war or terrorism, different things like that. There's a whole variety of things that could impact our lives. And then there are personal disasters too, where we might lose a job or be unemployed for a little while or have a family member become terminally ill, all kinds of different things. And so the first part of the book, we go through and we help the reader look and say, oh, you know, this is probably something that could happen to me. And then we help them through action plans at the end of every chapter, develop an action plan so that they can take the steps they need to prepare for whatever event is most critical for them to prepare for.
Wow, I've got to get a copy of this book. How did you study, you and your husband, how did you study and know and put down on paper what to do in various situations?
It's been a lot of years of study, and it started when I was a young father, and I realized that I hadn't even thought about what would happen if me and my family were involved in some kind of a natural disaster or a man-made disaster, and that bothered me a lot, that my children, not so much me, but my children might be exposed to difficulties that were partly because of my lack of preparation. So we started learning about a variety of important things, starting with the basics, water and food, and a few other things. And then it's been a natural progression of learning and experimenting and taking on new challenges. And every time we think we're getting to a good place, we come to a realization that there are several more things that we haven't thought of yet. And it's a natural way to progress and learn.
One of the things that really spurred me on was I started going to all these different classes to learn how to be prepared. And they had information there that was kind of really scary. One of the times we went to a presentation and the gentleman there said that kerosene was safe to use indoors and that it only produced carbon dioxide when it burned. Mm-hmm. And that's not true. It definitely produces carbon monoxide when it burns. And so we wanted to find out for sure what the truth is and how we could really keep our families safe.
Let me ask you both, as you've studied this and basically devoted your life to taking care of yourselves and helping other people learn how they can prepare for taking care of themselves, how many people do you think on a percentage basis across the United States are prepared or have some kind of preparedness?
Wow, that's tough to answer. What percentage? You know, so often, if you're a good prepper, you don't announce it. Because by announcing your prepping plans, you put yourself and your family at risk of pirate preppers, those who have decided that they're just going to take whatever they want when they need it. If nobody knows you have it, then you're not a target.
I see.
I don't know how many people are prepared. Not as many as we hope.
Well, let me ask you this. I'm sure people listening to this program right now are saying, gee, you know, I haven't done anything. I don't have any water storage. I don't have any food storage. I don't know how to prepare for various emergencies. Your book is basically going to open their eyes so that at least they can know how to do something. Is that correct?
Yeah, you know what? It's actually perfect for those that are beginning because it establishes what the need is, what your priorities are, and then it goes through, like emergency water purification and disinfection, it goes through and in a way that's very easy to understand, helps you know what your options are, the different things that you could possibly do, and then you get to decide what is best for your personal circumstances, and it clearly outlines what to do. And so there's no There's no real guesswork or worrying about that. And it covers everything. Emergency sanitation. We're really big into community and how important it is to develop community relationships, because honestly, no matter how much we personally prepare with our family, if our neighbors aren't prepared, we are not prepared, because the type of people that we are, would we really watch our little boys' friends starve if we had enough, to feed them, to help? We're going to share, but our supplies, see, it's impossible for us to store enough to feed everybody. But if everybody works together, if everybody stores a little bit, if we share our skills, then we'll all be okay, and we will survive whatever we need to survive and be better people because of it.
Let me ask you this. I've thought a lot about your book, and I've got to have a copy of it. That's number one thing I have to do is get a copy of this. But what about living in a rural area is so much of a difference, personality difference, etc., as it is living in an urban or in-city situation. Is this book, I would really suppose that this book should be read by anybody everywhere, but especially people that live in the inner city, because, boy, that's the group of people that are going to get hurt the worst, I think, isn't it?
Yes, I think you're right. People who live in the country typically have a little better grasp on how to take care of themselves, and they are more connected with the land. They're usually growing gardens and trees and those kinds of things. Those in the cities usually don't have those kinds of opportunities. So this is vitally important for them to understand what their risks are and what limitations they're going to have as far as their ability to take care of themselves, and it allows them to create a plan for themselves so that they can face those kinds of things and be successful.
Jonathan, when you talk about living in a rural area, you can talk about rural water purification and the old Hank Williams Jr. song, Country Boys Can Survive. But when you're talking about people that live in a town or an urban area and the city shuts off the water, what do?
Well, okay, first of all, we teach them to store water. Now, water is heavy and it takes up a lot of room, but it's really important because we use the rule of threes a lot. You can only survive 3 days without water, and by that third day, you're pretty much a goner anyway. So we want you to store as much water as you can, and there's lots of creative ways to do that. And then once you exhaust those supplies, you've got to know where your resources are around you. And in an urban city or in a big city setting, sometimes it's really hard. You don't have access to ponds and rivers and things like that. So in advance, it's really important to understand where that can be. In our book, we talk a little bit about where you can find water that might be trapped in your pipes or in your water heater and things like that. But it is really important to explore your options. And sometimes if there's a big disaster, it's nice to have a bug-out location, a family member or a friend who doesn't live in such a densely populated area or who has more resources that would sustain long-term living.
What about having something as a getaway bag or something at the door that you can throw in your pickup or your car or whatever and leave the scene of maybe disaster in your area to get to a safer area? Do you go through all this so that people know what to carry and what not to mess with and the important items they need?
Yes, we do go through bug-out bags, evacuation packs, whatever you want to call them. And they are important. I get worried sometimes because I know people who have these bug-out bags and they think that they've got it all covered. That is just one small component, but it is an important component. If you need to leave in a hurry, it's important that you have the right things, that you have it able to take with you easily so that you can get somewhere else and establish yourselves for some period of time until you can either return or until help can get things resolved.
And one thing that I have to add to that is that a bug-out bag or whatever, we call them survival kits usually, is not something that you should purchase in the store. You can purchase a foundation kit that might have a few basic supplies, but this is you living off of this for 3 to 5 days. And so you need to put what's really important for you. If you have some type of addiction, now is not a good time to do without it. So you need to put that in there. My personal one is Snickers bars. In my bag, I have Snickers bars because for me, that is what is going to make that disaster or whatever I need to do tolerable for me. For children, they have different needs. You know, if you're a Diet Coke addict, you need to have that in your kit. So they very much need to be personalized to the person.
Now, let me ask you this, folks, both Kylene and Jonathan. I would imagine also, regardless of the age, medicine is very crucial to have in these kits, is it not?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear what you just said.
I said I would imagine, regardless of the age of whether it's children or adults, people need to plan on making sure that they have some extra medicine of the daily dosages they need in these kits, right?
Oh, absolutely. If you are on some type of a chronic medication, you need to have that in there. Another interesting thing that we do, because some people, okay, I'm not even perfect at rotating my kit. And with those medications, you want to make sure that you have enough and that they're fresh stock. So ideally, you would definitely put some of that medication in your 72-hour kit. And every time you refill that medication, you should rotate that. Okay, doesn't always happen. So on the outside of our survival kit, we have a little list. So when you go to grab that bag, it will say, grab your list of what you need to do. Mm-hmm. Mine has some meds. It has my ham radio that I don't want to keep in that bag, and some different items, like depending on the weather, I'm going to need a coat or I'm not going to need one. And so some of those things I wouldn't keep in there all the time, but they are on this list so I can remember to grab them really quickly. Another thing that's really important to keep in your bag that people don't think about is another set of keys to everything that you own. We had a little event where we live where there was a microburst that downed some power lines, and those families were unable to re-enter their home for 2 or 3 days. It was quite a long time. And one of the women had a truck, her truck, parked across the street, and because she didn't have keys to that automobile, it was useless to her. However, if she had had those keys in her 72-hour kit when she left, then she would have had access to her truck and transportation.
All right, now I would imagine both Jonathan and Kylene that you'd be also very, very cognizant of having some extra money stored away so that in case of an emergency you don't have to run around and try to find your checkbook or whatever. You've got to have some liquefiable cash right in that bag, right?
Yes, that would be a very important thing to have. Both some cash at home and some cash in your 72-hour kits or your evacuation bags. Those are important things to have for just being able to either weather a long-term financial crisis, or if you're out on the road, the ability to take care of important things. Absolutely.
What about during the wintertime, and we all live in a region right here, whether it's Utah, whether it's Idaho, whatever, where we have the capability of having our power go off for an extended period of time. Does this book really go in and cover how to stay warm and preserve all your life, etc., right there in the cold weather?
So in the book, we talk about an experience that we had. One of the things when we first started researching was that we cannot teach somebody something that we don't know, something that we just haven't experienced. Our knowledge cannot be just theoretical. It has to be real. And so for us, we turned our power off in the dead of winter. It was January. And it was very, very cold. Now, so we learned what really works, what doesn't work, at least in our situation. But the biggest take-home message that we took away from that was that we can survive it. If we are prepared and have enough coats, enough blankets, if we have the ability to, warm up the soup in the house with, my favorite is canned alcohol, to be able to cook inside my home, then we can survive it, and it's okay. Was it really comfortable? No, because we weren't using a wood-burning stove or something like that. We wanted to see if we could survive without it. And we can't. But advanced preparation here is huge. You need to prepare your home so that it is as efficient as possible because you want to conserve your precious resources.
Now, let me ask you, what about the book itself? The Practical Prepper, a common sense guide to preparing for emergencies. Now, where do they find the book, and how do they get the book? How is it made available to the public?
The best place is probably Amazon.com or BarnesandNoble.com. So there'll be a lot of stores that are carrying it, but overall, those are probably the best places to make sure you can find it.
All right, now let me ask you both, as you were writing this book and talking about not only your circumstances and things that you have accomplished, I would imagine that it probably, by writing the book, opened up new fields of thought that maybe you hadn't even thought of. Is that correct?
I'm waiting for Jonathan. I can't see him right now. I'm thinking he's going to chime in. You know what? Absolutely. It's interesting to see where we have progressed to from 10 years ago to now, because a lot of the things that I worried about a lot then, really, you can do without. One of my kids, when we were talking to them, we have some adult children, and he said, people need to learn to do without. Because if we try to prepare and save everything so that we can live the type of lifestyle that we live right now, that's completely unrealistic. Can we be comfortable and survive? Absolutely. So some of our mindset has changed a lot. Survival landscape, and making sure that a lot of our landscape is edible, whether or not we harvest it all the time, is really important to me. Because it's okay right now for me to have a gooseberry bush and let those gooseberries go to the birds. But that bush is established and it can produce fruit for us in times of need. So anyway, that's kind of my mindset. Did that answer your question?
Absolutely. Now, I want to really stress that everybody, whether they live in town or way out in the boonies, they really should check on this book, The Practical Prepper, A Common Sense Guide to Preparing for Emergencies, written by Jonathan and Kylene Jones. And I really thank you for coming on the program. I'm going to try to get a hold of a copy and have you back after I get a chance to go through the different chapters. But thank you for being on the program this morning.
We would love that, Zeb. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, thank you very, very much.
Thank you, and have a great day. I'll be in touch. Appreciate it very much.
Okay, bye-bye.
Very, very interesting book, and I myself have found over the last couple of years that I've really developed kind of an interest in learning more about home preparedness, and I found out a lot of things I thought I knew. I didn't know a thing about. And I know many times, along with these folks, the Joneses down there in Utah with their new book, The Practical Prepper, and Sharon Hardy Mills has commented on this quite a few times on the program about home preparedness. So, again, I'll get the book, I'll read it, and then we'll have them back on the air and we'll do another little bit of a study. Holy cow, we've got to do the weather. The weather this hour is brought to you by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome, 324-7657. All the meat from the locally owned custom meat processor for over 20 years. Delicious. Selling taste one bite at a time. You ought to try their marinated tri-tips for any occasion. Absolutely delicious. Right now, here is Michael Rogers' weather. We'll be right back.
Hey everybody, Michael Rogers is at the ranch. Slight chance of a thunderstorm for today and tomorrow. Temperatures, you're going to be on the cool side. How about 93 for the high? 94 for the high tomorrow. When you get to the weekend, look for temperatures in the upper 90s, like 97, 98. There'll be a lot of sun and very little clouds. There you have it. See you Monday. Enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.
All right. Thank you very much. MichaelRogersWeather.com. Brought to you right here this hour by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome, 324-7657. Selling taste one bite at a time. Going to be a hot weekend and a busy weekend. I'm going to be down in Elko for the Silver State Stampede, and I want to make sure every time I go on a road trip that always my tires are in tip-top shape. Always I've got the best in tires, and I know where to go. And that's your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations with all the tires for the cars, the pickups, the SUVs, horse trailers, boat trailers, everything. They've got all your tires with the best tire value promise in the industry. And along with that, the very best in brake service. And, of course, shocks and struts, front-end alignments, batteries, all there, custom wheels. It's all there, every bit of it, along with some very, very easy credit plans available for you. Stop in and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, John on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley. The best, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Gina, we made it through another week. What are you going to do this weekend?
Housework.
Oh, and besides that, I think I heard the cow, right?
You did, yes.
You're going to stay inside on a hot, nice, sunny weekend and do housework?
Most of it's actually yard work and gardening.
Oh, well, don't get heat stroke.
I will try not to.
All right. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, Zeb, quickly, when you brought up Les Schwab, I'm fortunate enough to do business with Max Bow and Mitch over there at Paul Les Schwab, and considering some of the struggles they went through and the quality of people they are, I mean, they're the nicest people that there are. And they take care of you. They don't quibble over small things. And, I just wanted to give a shout out to those folks because, they've had a few things that have happened, and and they're still smiling.
Absolutely.
They're as friendly and nice as you can be.
Well,
you can't find better people than that.
I agree with you, and you know what? I am blessed on this show, and I mean this. From an advertising and sponsoring aspect, I have the cream of the crop, and I'm so blessed to have all the 7 Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers on my program, along with all my other advertisers. I am blessed, and it's really nice of you to call and say that, and many, many times during the course of a day, I'll get phone calls, and people will give a nice testimonial about how great our advertisers are. Thank you, Randy. I appreciate that.
Well, I do business with them and with all of them, and and it's just great. And so many of your advertisers are such good people. Rita and Keith, Glenn, all of them. It's a privilege to live here in this valley.
I appreciate that. God bless you, man. We'll talk to you next Monday. I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, got to run. That's it. We're going to turn it back over to the main studios. And my slogan, of course, the way things were are the way things ought to be. God bless you and your family. Have a great weekend. Stay cool. Zeb at the Ranch. We'll see you Monday at 8:06.